Batman arguably has the greatest rogues gallery of any superhero in history. Many of his foes are disturbed, damaged people that snap after life pushes them too far. Despite being fantastical, they often have very real, human motivations that resonate with the audience. And in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at a relatively obscure Batman the Animated Series villain, BabyDoll. Making her debut in the self-titled episode, BabyDoll, we're introduced to Mary Dahl, a has-been actor who suffers from systemic hyperplasia, a rare genetic condition which keeps her body from aging. At the time of the episode, she's in her 30s, but physically she resembles a toddler. She had been the star of a hit sitcom, Love That Baby, a show that was about a mischievous little girl that got into all sorts of hijinks with a sickeningly sweet catchphrase.
Well, baby, you'd better have a pretty good explanation for this.
I didn't mean to.
Eventually, she grew tired of perceived slights from the studio heads and quit the show to pursue her ambitions of becoming a serious actor, with disastrous results.
Here's the smell of the blood still. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand.
P.U.
Years later, Mary begins kidnapping her former castmates in order to relive the time in which she was happier, with her beloved family, or die trying. On the surface, it's a pretty absurd premise, but it's actually one of the most touching and poignant episodes of BTAS. In fact, it often comes out pretty high on many fans' best episodes list. It took the number 17 slot on my list, so watch that if you haven't already. BabyDoll resurfaces in the new Batman Adventures episode Is A Croc, where she is the manager of a motel, living the tedious life of a former celebrity that gets recognised by overly personal strangers. After watching the trial of Killer Croc on TV, Mary sees something of herself within Croc. They're both physical oddities that are judged based on their appearance, and she sets out to free him. The pair form a romantic Bonnie and Clyde style relationship, with disastrous results. Is A Croc is a bit of a mediocre episode, but there's nothing fundamentally wrong with it, it's just there's little to write home about. However, BabyDoll is an episode that fascinates me. The thing that I find really interesting about Batman's villains is that they're often reflections of Batman, or represent parts of his personality. Poison Ivy is the vengeful crusader that takes things too far. Two-Face represents the duality of Batman and Bruce Wayne. Mr. Freeze is the man broken by the loss of a loved one, and so on. In the case of BabyDoll, she is physically frozen in the form of a child, while Batman is stuck with the same mentality he had after his parents were murdered in front of him as a child. I don't think it's a particularly hot take to say that Bruce Wayne's life ended when his parents died, and in his place Batman was born. Batman, a figure of physical and mental perfection, is a child's response to fear and feelings of powerlessness. He is completely incapable of moving on and growing as a person. Externally, he is a fully grown man, but internally, he's a sad, wounded little boy. BabyDoll, however, is the inverse of this. She physically cannot develop. She can't be who she feels she really is, even though mentally she is a fully grown woman in her 30s. She clearly suffers from body dysmorphia. Her physical form doesn't match her own views of herself, of who she knows herself to be. While I don't relate to BabyDoll, I can completely understand why some people, particularly those in society who are overlooked, maligned, or ignored simply because of who they are perceived to be, might feel some kinship with her. People treat her as a child because that's what they view her to be, despite the fact that she knows she is an adult. No matter what she says or does, at best she'll be treated as a curiosity, something that amuses normal people, and that must be infuriating. The majority of Batman's villains are disabled, disfigured, or deformed in some way, and BabyDoll expresses frustration with the way that society can treat people that aren't able-bodied, not conventionally attractive, or abnormal in some other way. She demonstrates herself to be quite a cunning criminal, particularly in Is A Croc, and she is able to do this because people keep underestimating her based on her appearance. Going back to her debut episode, BabyDoll is acutely aware that the life she's trying to recreate is a fantasy. Several times throughout the episode, she drops the facade of BabyDoll and speaks in her normal voice to express her sadness and her frustrations with life.
It was hard for me out there. I studied and trained and auditioned, but no one wanted me.
At the end of the episode, when she's pursued by Batman into the Hall of Mirrors, BabyDoll comes face to face with reality and her real voice comes out.
But it's not really real, is it? Just made up and pretend like my family and my life and everything else. Why couldn't you just let me make believe?
The shooting of the mirrors can be interpreted as BabyDoll ending her fantasy. Yes, she starts shooting out at the reflections of Batman, but when she's forced to take a good hard look at herself in the mirror, she acknowledges that she is her own enemy and pulls the trigger, effectively killing her dream. Note that the piece of the shattered mirror now reflects BabyDoll as she really is. This can also be interpreted as BabyDoll committing suicide. After all, she is shooting herself. Speaking of suicide, I'm absolutely certain that BabyDoll's grand scheme was going to end with her killing herself and her co-stars when she recreated the contentious birthday episode. Her anger towards the actor playing her cousin Spunky is entirely misplaced, and I'm certain that BabyDoll is aware of this and just doesn't care. Looking at the size of the explosion, there is no doubt in my mind that if Robin hadn't flung the dynamite away, she and her co-stars would have perished in the blast. She was standing mere inches from it, and I have to think she was very well aware of the fact. She would rather die living her fantasy life than continue in the real world. Look how excited she is at the prospect of the explosion. Yes, she's getting revenge on cousin Spunky, but she's also about to take control of her life by killing herself and those around her. And it's worth noting that she clearly doesn't have a problem putting herself in harm's way. When Batman and Robin attempt to prevent the kidnapping of Tammy Vance, BabyDoll pretends to be a child and wanders into the path of the Batmobile. She must have been confident that Batman would swerve out of the way, but at the same time I'm pretty sure that she wouldn't have been too dismayed if she had been flattened by the Batmobile. This willingness to harm herself and others resurfaces in Is A Croc. When she discovers that her life with Killer Croc is also a lie, she once again opts for explosive revenge that would kill her as well as her philandering lover. And everyone else in Gotham City. BabyDoll has made a handful of minor appearances in the comic books. She's been a background character in Sean Murphy's Batman White Knight miniseries, which exists in its own continuity, although it is heavily influenced by Batman the Animated Series. And she recently appeared in the Harley Quinn 30th anniversary special, where she became a potential love interest for the Joker's original sidekick Gaggy. Outside of that, she hasn't really done much. I can see why BabyDoll hasn't made any significant appearances in the mainline DC universe. She isn't much of a physical threat, and there are already dozens of self-loathing criminals in Batman's comic book rogue gallery. Hi, Killer Moth! Having said that, the ending of BabyDoll really highlights the beauty of Batman the Animated Series. Despite everything she's done, kidnapping, assault, attempted murder, Batman recognises that BabyDoll is a damaged human being, not entirely in control of herself. Rather than beating her senseless and hurling her into prison, Batman silently stands with her before offering a comforting hand on her shoulder and a hug. How many episodes of BTAS ended with the villain weeping uncontrollably when faced with the reality of what they were, with Batman as the only person present to listen to them before taking them away to get help? BabyDoll may be a one-note villain, but she is the perfect distillation of what makes Batman the Animated Series so good.
I didn't mean to.